Yo, hello everybody. We got a couple people in the stream. This is super exciting. We're super excited to have everyone here. Uh, let's just jump in. I don't know how to. No fanfare here. Let's just jump in. I'm joined today by the amazing Wayne Jones from New York City. Say hi, Wayne.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it
And
going?
everyone in the stream. I think we got the sound levels pretty good, right? Can everyone hear us okay? Um, But yeah, so today this is a brand new thing we want to. Oh, we got a little echo. Good to know. I'm trying out some new filters on my my microphone, but let me know if they get annoying. Oh, when Wayne. Okay, perfect. That may be me too. Okay.
Oh, when I talk, okay. Oh,
It might be
when I
me
talk,
too, Wayne. It
okay.
might be the OBS settings or whatever. Who knows? Um, actually, okay, whatever. We'll see. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, be okay. Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you, Nick. I figured it out. It's totally my fault. Okay. Twitch streaming is really hard. Does anyone ever Wayne?
Now
So I
we're
know
good to
Wayne,
go.
you and Nick. Thank you so much. That totally was the problem. I know. And Wayne, you actually do Twitch streaming too, right?
Yeah, I do. I mostly stream
Yeah, I
a little
do.
bit
I
of coding
mostly stream
whenever
a
I'm
little
like
bit of coding
doing
whenever I'm
coding
like
stuff,
doing
as well as right now
coding
I'm
stuff,
getting
as
into
well as right
the
now
new
I'm getting
game called
into
Valorant
the
by
new
Riot
game
Games.
called
Pretty
Valorant
fun
by
if
Riot
you're
Games.
familiar
It's
with
pretty
it.
fun
It's kind of like
if you're familiar
Counter
with it.
Strike
It's kind of
in a
like
way.
Counter
Oh,
Strike
awesome.
in a way. So it's kind of
Here we go.
yeah. So it's pretty
Oh, I
cool.
think auto. Okay, auto. I think there was another setting. Perfect. I've never played that game. Has anyone in the stream played that? I'm like the lamest. I want to tell people at Twitch stream, I'm like, I don't game much, but like I wish I did. I wish I did. And wait, actually, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Namikuro. That's
Cool. I'm gonna just post
NAMIKURO.
that in the old chat here. Perfect. Perfect. Oh, thank you, Nick. Yes, great. I really hot. So hard. Okay, great. So today this is a brand new thing that we're gonna be trying out. And I'd love to hear like the feedback from everyone on the stream too. Like if you like this, you want more of this too. But I want we want to like feature developers who are making super cool projects using MongoDB. Uh, and Wayne's project really stood out to me. This is actually a hackathon project Wayne worked on. I don't know, last couple months. Um, Actually, what hackathon was this a part of?
Yeah, so we have a local coding group here in New York City called NYC Coders. And NYC Coders actually hosted a hackathon a couple weeks back, where we tried to come up with try to build out, I guess, web applications or tools that can help with the Black Lives Matter movement, or like try to help bridge the, I guess, the racial disparities that
Yeah.
happen with African Americans. Um, so I think it was just the hackathon was over a course of a few days, about 3 or 4 days. Um, and yeah, and we built this data dashboard
That's
for
amazing.
this hackathon.
And I'm curious too. Has who in the chat has anyone been in a hackathon? Is anyone too scared of being in a hackathon? And I guess Wayne, have you done hackathons before this? Was this your first hackathon you've done?
No, I've done hackathons previously. Like NYU, my alma mater, has their NYU hackathon for collegiate students. And there's a bunch of like online hackathons that go around that if I have the
Oh,
time, I
totally.
participate
I
in.
mean, especially now with COVID, right? Like they have to be global or like a distributed hackathon.
Oh yeah.
And that's the tricky part. I always like,
Yeah.
because like as devs, I feel like it's hard for us to like meet up these days, and I think virtual hackathons is a great way to like get involved with the community, even though we're all isolated. You know. Uh, like so
hmm
when you did the hackathon too, I'm curious, like how did you like find a group ahead of time? Did you like meet them when you were there?
Yeah, so about,
Yeah.
I guess, the team formation. So, I guess day one of the hackathon, people came into the hackathon with ideas. Me personally, I'm not all that creative when it
I
comes
don't
to
believe
coming up
that,
with
but
ideas for
I'm sure you
projects.
are. I'm
Um,
sure.
but yeah, so people had like wonderful
Yeah.
ideas for different projects. And I think for me, what I wanted to try to do, like I kind of had an idea of like trying to utilize a data set to visually show the disparities of African Americans. I didn't know if there was a data set related to like
Mm,
NYPD cop shootings or just like
mm.
incidents in general. But I kind of wanted to like come up with like a data visualization app for this hackathon. And I partnered with another person who had the same ideas. So we got together and we
That's
built this
amazing. So it's like you had
application
like
here.
a vague idea of what you wanted, and then you kind of like went in and tried to like collaborate with people who had similar ideas and kind of form it up into something whole. Is that right? I think that that's such a
Yeah,
common like
correct.
people. I know I thought that when I first got into hackathons too, but like you have to feel like you are an expert programmer and you have a fully fleshed out idea, and like you don't have to have any of that. You know what I mean? No, right? Like you can be a beginner
No.
programmer, learning a new thing, no ideas at all, and like go in and just like help other people.
Yeah, for me, it's like for a hackathon, I'm not coming out with the expectation that I'm gonna come up with the
Mm-hmm.
fully fleshed out product. Um, like as long as I have like an idea in mind, and with every hackathon, I try to take some time to learn something new, or try to like I guess try to gain a new perspective in terms of like a tool or I guess whether that be like a front end tool or a back end tool that I wanted to utilize. In this case, initially we wanted to use Firebase, which I've never used before, but we came to some limitations, and then we settled on using MongoDB Atlas and more specifically MongoDB Realm to set our serverless functions for this application. And me personally, I used MongoDB Atlas for a couple projects prior, so I knew a
Yeah.
little bit on that aspect, but I've never used MongoDB Realm, and I never even heard of it until
Oh,
like I think the
totally.
week prior. It was like MongoDB Live, and I was like, "Oh, MongoDB Realm is like, or
Yeah,
also known
it's
as
confusing.
Stitch." Um, yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, this is how you can do serverless functions. I'm like, maybe I can use this in
Oh,
a project somewhere. And then the week after, this hackathon came out, and I'm like, you know what? It's the perfect time
that's
to use
amazing.
MongoDB
We're like
Realm.
I'm totally
Uh,
biased, Wayne, but like MongoDB is way better than Firebase. It's way better. No, that's great. That's awesome. And you know, actually, I haven't actually played with Realm that much either. It's like been on my to do list. I like, and it's like I have to. I have to want to. You probably know more about it than I do at this point, honestly. But that's amazing. So you just like you stumble on it, and the serverless functions makes it like super easy to like just make a whole. You don't even like. Do you have a backend for this project, or is it all based on serverless functions with MongoDB?
yeah, so I have a couple of functions that query the
Oh,
collections
cool.
on in Atlas. Um,
Let's
so I
see.
can
Like,
show
actually, do
you
you
a
want to
little bit
show
of
us like
it
a demo
now.
what the app is, and then we can jump into the code?
Or
Yeah, I just would love to like people like
oh,
see what
sure.
it is, like what you built.
Sure. So we utilized a data set called
Yeah.
like NYC Open Data, and they have a data set called NYC Shooting Incidents
Wow.
in New York City. So they have data going from currently, I guess, 2020, going all the way back to 2006. Um, and uh, we wanted to just aggregate all that data and display it as a visual, I guess, in a visual medium. Um, so I
Yeah.
guess let's jump into it. So on the left side here, it says victims of shooting by race
Wait,
ethnicity in
can you make the screen
2006.
like make it a little bit
Um,
bigger?
okay.
Is that possible? I know
Well,
maybe we'll see the map right now, but It's a hackathon project, doesn't? But that's perfect. Yeah, great. I wonder how we can do it.
Hopefully.
Like pop in a little bit. I don't even know. I know on like Macs you can like zoom into specifics. I don't know how to do that on Windows though. Just like maybe like 1 or 2 tabs bigger because it's hard to read the text. I think.
Gotcha.
No, that's
It's not
totally fine. It
responsive
looks
at
great.
all,
That's
but
fine. That's fine. Walk us through it. Just like say what it is.
okay, gotcha. So on the left side it says shootings, victims of shootings by race incident in 2006. Here you can select what year that you want to see the data. And depending on what you click on, like let's say 2009, the graph updates here and the map on the side. I don't know if you saw, but it did a little jump, and it basically shows 2019
Wow.
data on the
Can you
map
tell us
here.
what the legend is, like the
Um,
different colors are, for people who can't read it?
yeah, yeah. So in the side graph here, it has
Mm.
broken down by race. So African American, Black Hispanic, White, Asian Pacific Islander, and unknown. And each of the different colors, Black representing blue, Black Hispanic is yellow, White Hispanic is tealish green, White is purple, and Asian Pacific Islander is
Cool.
orange. So depending on the data, you might see different colors than other, like more of a certain color than others. And I think Alaskan Native is red. So on the right side here, these circles correlates to the actual location of where the shooting incidents occurs, and the color of the circle itself represents the different race of the victims that was involved in these shootings. So if we go to Manhattan, you have a couple of African Americans here that got shot in Lower Manhattan. Um, and in Brooklyn, it seems like it's more African Americans that be involved in shooting incidents compared to Black Hispanics. Um, and if you zoom out a little bit, it gives representation of uh, where exactly these crimes occur around New York City. Most of them occurring either in Brooklyn or in the South Bronx or Upper Manhattan in Harlem, where most African Americans usually live, and therefore um, more African Americans might actually be victims of
Yes.
shootings as a result.
That is amazing. If you hover over the dots, does it show you information about the shooting, or is it just like it just shows you location?
It just
Yep.
shows the location for now, but definitely when we talk about like things I want to improve upon or like things I want to like add to this app is that like once you click on like a certain dot, I want to show the I guess any more additional information of the victim. One thing I can show you that I do know, and let me go to Queens real
Yeah.
quick. I'll show you my neighborhood that I used to live in, which is Jamaica, Queens. Let me zoom in. So this is Jamaica, Queens. Jamaica Avenue, Woodside. Here's Van Wyck. So this is the area I used to live in. And if I go through and if I search, I believe above Liberty Avenue. And I don't see it here. Maybe. Oh, maybe zoom in. So a little bit about this map application. So this map application utilizes OpenStreetMaps as like the map API, and we utilize a tool called Leaflet that does the textures of each individual, I guess, that does the textures of the map. And there's a wrapper component that wraps around Leaflet, so we can utilize it in React.
Whoa, that's awesome. Also, the color. I mean, it just looks great. I just love the aesthetic of the whole app too.
Oh yeah.
And I'm curious, why did you use
Wait,
Leaflet over like Google Maps API?
Oh yeah. So one thing about Google Maps API is that there's a limitation when it comes to the number of calls you can make with Google Maps API. With Leaflet, it's
Yes.
free, open source. Um, you don't have to worry about hitting a specific quota when it comes to, I guess, when it comes to
Yes. I
API
always tell people
calls.
that like you have to like pay money for maps. It's like a huge pain. But yeah, Leaflet and OpenStreetMaps is amazing. I'm gonna just do a quick MongoDB plug. But did you know MongoDB has charts and like you can just it plays really nicely with MongoDB data and you can integrate those in any app too.
No, I have yet to use MongoDB charts,
It's amazing.
but
I love Leaflet and OpenStreetMaps too, but it's super nice for playing with MongoDB data. But anyway, it looks incredible.
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna show you a specific incident, which I totally forgot. Like I trying to look for it here on the map, but I can't find it. It happened in 2006.
Sure.
But it's the so I used to live like around here where I'm circling. And above here, it used to like well, I don't know why it's not showing now, but the Sean Bell shooting actually happened a couple blocks away from where I
Wow.
lived, up here near 94th Avenue. And it's like, wow, it's like puts in perspective, like each individual dot represent a
Ah,
person that was either like shot and killed or shot and heavily injured.
that's an excellent point. It's like, well, I mean, like the raw API data is like very, like, it's very impersonal, and even like in visualizations like this, like makes it a little more human. But you're totally right. Like each dot is like a human person who died. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So I
amazing. You found that
so I
case
def
too on there.
yeah, I don't know why it's not showing up here. Maybe I got the wrong wrong
Mm-hmm.
year. I thought it was 2006. But yeah, it's like I like when talking about things I want to add to this web application is definitely one of that where you can click on one of the
Yeah.
dots here and um, I think the data, it's the NYC open data itself doesn't contain the name of the victim or person like involved
Yeah.
in the incident, but if I can just like cross reference the date and time of the incident with like news reports, maybe I can like put a name to a dot,
I
so to
love
speak.
that. And Wayne, we have a question from Britta Brown. She says, "How long did it take you to create the app with Realm? And what was your experience using Realm the first time?"
Yeah, so going back, so with Realm, it was my first time
Mm,
ever using it. In MongoDB Live, I believe there was like beginner
yes.
tracks. When it came to like learning a little bit about MongoDB features, one of them was setting up MongoDB Realm as like kind of like
Yeah.
serverless function to access the data. So in terms of ease of use, I basically just followed that webinar that was on during MongoDB Live, and it was pretty easy to set up. I can show you a little bit here. So if I go to my realm, so
Cool.
MongoDB realm, and here's my app data dashboard, and I set it up as third-party services. So I have a service name
Mm,
called Shooting, and you can access it via HTTP. And then I had set up webhooks to basically call the specific data that I want. So I have one that has get all shootings, which that was like a test webhook to see if I can bring in all the data at once. Then I
Wayne,
have
can you make
the
your
get
screen a
all
little bit bigger, or just like make the text bigger on the browser?
okay.
Perfect. That's
Hopefully
perfect.
you're able
Yep,
to
great.
see. Okay. Um, then you have get all VIX by race and then get all by year. So let me click into get all VIX by race. So here, this function is just the ASIC function that we provide a
Mm,
specific race on the front end as a query. So we grab that from the payload, and we have a couple exclusion fields that like parts of data from NYC Open Data that we don't really
right.
necessarily need. Um, so we just want to exclude that from it. And then we have, I think, I don't know why ID is here, but we use
Mm,
context.services.get to query our MongoDB Atlas, um, I guess, MongoDB
mm-hmm.
Atlas cluster, and then we specify the DB, which is um, database is shootings, the collection name is shootings. And then from there, we do a find to get all the victims, well, get all the
Mm.
incidents by race um, by um, filtering the fields, which in our collections, it's called Vic race. And then we filter it by providing the race into
I love
our
it. So
filter.
are you importing all the data from the NYC dataset into a MongoDB database? And then doing the filtering using MongoDB?
Yeah, so like I can show you a little bit about I guess I can show you the collections that I
Yeah, that'd
have
be
in
awesome.
Atlas.
Yeah, I'd love to see like your schema and
So
like, yeah,
here's
what kind
that
of data's in there?
yeah, so here's our data dashboard. I'll zoom in a little bit more. If we go to collections, so here's our collections, here's our DB and our
Cool.
collection name shootings. And for each collection, each document, it has data
Mm,
related to each incident. So this schema is just incident key, what date it
mm,
occurred, what time, the
mm,
borough that we wanted. But what we utilize is the coordinates, the latitude and longitude coordinates, to basically plant those markers, those circle markers on our
mm.
leaflet map. And we use a courier to filter out, I guess, the data that we are trying to bring to our front ends. So we utilize a courier um, to filter out by
That's
year
amazing.
here.
I'm surprised how much data you actually
And
get,
yeah,
and I'm also shocked that NYC was collecting the data since 2006. That surprises me.
yeah, like I guess what in NYC Open Data is like you can go to, I guess if you Google
Yeah.
NYC Open Data, um, they have like data sets ranging from like NYPD, it could be public service, it could be about I guess it could be something related to like, oh, how many people apply for a job, how many
Mm,
jobs are open, everything you can find here. I assume every state has their own
totally.
open
I
data
think
of
New
some
York's is
sort.
better than most people's or most states, but like it's amazing. Yeah, totally. But
Yeah,
yeah, you can totally find those in other cities.
yeah. So
Huh.
that's NYC open data, and um, evidently we didn't really change the. Well, we just downloaded the
Mm,
entire data set, and we didn't really change the schema from what it currently had. So what you see here is kind of like what NYC open data had in
yeah.
terms of the schema. Uh, but we wanted to manage and host our own data on MongoDB Atlas because we didn't know whether NYC Open Data had limitations when it comes to
Oh
calling this
sure.
data set and stuff. So we just wanted to manage that all
I
on
always feel
our end.
safer just like keeping it. Yeah, if they like go down or stop sharing the data someday, like at least your app is still gonna be up. You know, you still like own it. I love that. That's great. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's amazing. No, and thanks for showing that. Because I think a lot of people don't know that most cities and states and even the federal government has this open data. And I think you're like,
Hmm.
I, I love this idea. I think like interactive like infographic. This is so huge, and I feel like I would love for more people to be like inspired by this project to like make something similar. You know, using this open data.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Wayne, can you tell me like
Cool.
what were some of the bugs you encountered while you're working on this project? Like, what were some of the hard parts that you had to like overcome or figure out, or something unexpected?
Let's see. Something unexpected. I think some of the hard parts when it came to this application, I'm trying to think. Um, Trying to think mainly was trying to get MongoDB Atlas
Yeah.
up and running. Um, Trying to figure out whether we wanted to manipulate NYC's open data
Mm.
set or not. Um, and what I guess another problem that we ran into was with Realm when it came to building out these webhooks that our front end is calling. Um, we ran a little bit into like some walls when it came to figuring out why our collection is not finding or filtering out the correct way. Um, Trying to remember exactly what happened.
That's always yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I can't
it's
remember
been
what
a
I had for
while,
lunch
so I was
yesterday,
like,
Wayne.
but I do remember like running into like a little bit of problems with setting up our
Totally.
functions and like
Yeah,
writing
no,
it.
I've had
But
that problem too, because like especially like writing serverless, it's like it's harder to troubleshoot. I don't, you know what I mean? It's like a different way of doing it. It's not
yeah,
being
yeah.
run locally anymore. It's running in the cloud now. Yeah, it can be tricky. That is incredible. Also, see, I have a question about this get evicts by race function. So, um, uh,
Hmm.
are you making a query to the open data set here, or is this just making a query to the database and kind of getting the data you need from the database?
Oh, so this is making a query to our MongoDB
Okay.
Atlas database and bringing it back. Let me see if I can open up. Let me see. While I talk with you, I'm just gonna open up the
Yeah.
project that I have
Yeah.
in
Absolutely.
VS Code. Give me 1 second. So open this up. So here you go.
Perfect. And can you make it a little bit bigger too? I
How do
think
I make this
I think
thing
it's
in
still
VS
just
Code?
Control Plus. Should be able to make it. There we go. Perfect.
Okay. Okay, so I'll show you the app.js. So this tool was actually built in
Cool.
React on our front end. Um, so if you know React, the first thing that it hits is the app.js. Um, and here we have our
Yep.
Navbar component, which evidently is the thing at the top where you can select your year that you want for
Love
into
it.
the data set. And we have the map component, which contains both the bar chart on the side here, the about component, and as well as
Love
the
it.
map component. Um, so let me dive into here. Oh yeah, so also we utilized React's context API to do state
Cool.
management. So here we have a year context provider because what we wanted to do was we wanted to grab the year that was selected in our nav bar and then basically pass it along in our map component.
Love it. No, that's super smart. And I love. I mean, like, if for an app like this, you don't need like Redux. It's like way overkill. Yeah, just throw like a context provider up and share that state.
Yeah, and we utilized we initially did everything in like class components, but we just figured let's switch everything to functional components and use hooks.
Love it.
Um, so our map component itself, let me open up that, has our panel info, which is the left side of the
Cool.
web application. So it'll be everything containing the about, the victim shootings
Cool.
bar chart, and then the panel map is the map
Right.
component. So let me dive a little bit into the map component. Let me close this. So our map component. So this is the functional panel map. We have a state called data, and we use hooks to set it.
Yep.
We use state, and then as I said before, we use the context API to pass our year to a map component. So we utilize the use context hook. We grab the year context from our provider, and we get our year into a variable called year. And then from there, we do a function call called fetch data that passes the year that was selected in our context state. And we utilize the URL from, I guess, as a webhook that we get from MongoDB Realm. So all we have to do is fetch, do a fetch call to that URL. We get our response, basically convert the response to a JSON object. And then from there, we set our state data with set data. And evidently, then from there, we utilize data to pass it along to our leaflet React map.
Love it. So you get it in the format you need for leaflet then, right? To display all these data points on there. I assume it's like an array of GeoJSON data or something.
Yeah. So so this is the map component. So this visualizes what you see in the map. And in terms of the markers, we create a separate component called shooting incident markers. We pass that data set that we got from MongoDB Realm to this component. So if I go to shooting incidents markers,
I'm guessing it's like a map that kind of loops through all the data points and adds the points to the map. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
we
have up here we have based on what the race is, we have a specific icon, which is like an SVG type of image, to display each of the different races here. And then what we do is we pass along we parse the data objects to get our longitude and latitude. And that's all that marker really needs in order to display, along with the icon that we want to use, which would represent the different, depending on the race that the incident, the victim incident
I love
has,
it.
I think.
See, Wayne, 3 things. 1, I just want to say this code is so clean and so easy to read. I love it.
Oh, that's courtesy of ESLint and Pretty.
Yeah. Well, at least you got it hooked up in there. It looks great though, and I mean the variable names look great. It's more than ESLint. I love your component structure too. It's super clean and easy. And even your context is great too. I mean, it's so simple, right? It's just I love it. And 2, I just want to say, people who are watching the stream, you're not going to believe this, but Wayne is currently looking for a job. So anyone knows of a place that's looking for an awesome programmer who writes clean ass code, you should totally get at him. And 3, we have a question from Britta Brown. She says, Wayne, this looks amazing. Can you what inspired this project for you, and what was the subject of the hackathon?
Yeah, so the subject of the hackathon was to basically build out web application tools to help represent the Black Lives Matter movement. And so what inspired me to build this application was evidently I wanted some way to represent, I guess, to showcase visually the amount of shooting incidents that occur in New York City, and to visually display the disparities of the amount of victims that are disproportionately Black in New York City. Um, Mainly because I guess for me, um, I guess when people, I guess, how do I say? Um, when I guess when people think of like, nah, how do I describe it? Or I'm trying to put it into like words.
That's all right. Take your time. No, it's all right. It's, I mean, it's, yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you have people out there that is in disbelief when it comes to
Mm,
shooting incidents, and especially when we say, especially myself as an African American, say that um, we're often victims of shooting incidents
yeah,
disproportionately. And people usually say, "Oh, where's the data?" And then you give them the data set, and they're like, "Oh, I
yeah.
can't read this." So we wanted to actually take that data and visually show how disproportionate um, African Americans are in terms of victims of
That, I mean, that
shootings.
bar graph is just
So that's
shocking that you have there. It's,
yeah, and it's like every year that you go through, it like so 2008, 2017, blacks are by far the more
yeah.
disproportionate. Um, so it's just bar
And
none.
what was the hackathon? What was the name of the hackathon again? And what was like the theme of the hackathon again?
So yeah, so it was NYC Coders Hack for Black Lives
Cool. Oh,
Matter.
that's amazing. Do you know who organized that? Do you know? I could Google this too.
Uh, yeah, so if you go to, let me see, if I go to meetup.com, oh, I'm not even signed into Meetup. Um, but essentially, there's a Meetup group called NYC Coders, who is head by a, I don't think I can find it here
Oh, I
since
think I
I'm not
found the
logged
meetup
in,
group.
but
I'm
but
gonna post it on
uh,
the chat.
yeah, it's headed by a female developer. Her name is Talia. She came from like a boot camp background. I don't think she had a traditional background in terms of computer science, but she mainly um, she mainly does events for this meetup, usually revolving around like studying for
Mm,
interviews, preparing for interviews, and then one day Talia was like, you know what, I'm tired of sitting at home and doing nothing to really support the cause of Black Lives Matter. So she wanted to host this hackathon to um, basically try to bring developers together in order to
mm.
come up with solutions that support the
I
mission
love
of
that.
Black
Like
Lives Matter.
I feel like I've been thinking that too. Like, how do I use my unique programming skills to like help? You know what I mean? And I love that this is like such a great concrete way for software engineers to help out.
Yeah. And it's like with hackathons, you don't really need to be 100, like know everything 100%. You can come in, you can be a project manager, you can be a
Yes.
UX UI designer. We had like with this, this project wasn't only just me,
Mm.
it was me and a group of people that helped build this project, including like UI UX developers that designed this wonderful front end. Me personally, I worked on the back end on this project, and I couldn't have done it without
I love.
the
No, you're
rest of my
totally right. This is a
teammates.
team. This is a team project. Um, I love that. And even like, I love how you called out like even non-programmers are like more like are needed at these type of events. Like designers, like business people or project managers, or even I've seen like musicians come in to like make tracks for games or whatever. You know what I mean? I think that's so important.
Hmm.
What was your team? Did it consist of any designers? Was it all programmers?
Yeah, so it consisted of myself, another back-end developer, and two front ends. We had one developer that was shadowing the entire weekend, so they couldn't develop. I mean, they couldn't program the app the entire weekend, but they were there to help support and help assist as needed. And then we had a project manager and a designer as
Love
well,
that.
like a consultant, to help us with the design aspect of
And
the
we have
application.
a question from Taylor C. Johnson. He says, "Thank you for building this. It's amazing. Are you looking for any contributions at this point for this project?"
Yeah, in terms of contributions, I'm definitely looking like if you're open to like maybe helping out with this, I would love it. Right now we have our repository up on
I'll post a
GitHub.
link.
Yeah. So it's we have Team 5 Data Dashboard, but our repository name is Data Dashboard. And we would love it if you want to contribute to this repository. Right now, we're trying to figure out how I guess one improvement we want to do is improving the load times for this data. Because I know when I select a year, this bar graph here takes only like a half a second. But our maps usually take maybe like a full second, so it's kind of noticeable. So maybe a way of implementing like a way to cache data of some sort. We're still trying to figure that out. In addition, we want to add the more information about each individual shooting incident, so that like when you click on it, it'll show more information about a specific incident, including like, let's say if okay, it was the Sean Bell shooting, you could find more information, what time it occurred, what date, and maybe like evidently maybe we could put a name to a dot instead of having just like nameless incidents. Maybe we could
I
actually put a
love
name
that.
to a
That's
dot.
amazing. Yeah, absolutely. And if sharing the project too is always great, or documentation. There's so many different ways to help out too, but those are great features. Um, yeah, I love that. That's great. It totally, you should help out. Like, I think this is a great project, right? Like, I think like, and it's, I mean, it's already, it looks amazing. It looks great. Yeah, like, there's, I always feel like with every project I do, it's like there's always just like a million things I want to keep doing with it. But it's just a matter of time. Are you still contributing to this, or is your team still contributing to it in any way, or is it like just kind of things come in, you kind of look at it?
Well, I guess right now personally, I'm mostly preparing for interviews and studying, so I haven't had time to uh, add on and contribute
Yep.
since the hackathon. But yeah, we're always looking for more
Oh, I
contribitors
love
to
that.
this
That's great.
application.
And let's see here. Keeping track of this act or count. I think that's how you say it. He asked, or they asked, what was the backend language? You want to explain like the architecture, the serverless back architecture, and what language you used?
Yeah. So yeah, originally we wanted to go with like a Node backend, but we figured mostly it was me because I wanted to utilize MongoDB Realm in a way, since like the week before I just learned it at MongoDB Live. So I'm like, instead of having like a backend server that has to be up and running, why not just create serverless functions and like webhooks, so where that like all you have to do is create this function and query the data as so, and then
Yep.
you'll get the data that you need. So there wasn't any like in terms of backend language, there wasn't really a backend. But for MongoDB Realm, all the functions are built in JavaScript. Um, and yeah,
Yep.
that's pretty much it. And then utilize if you know the like if you're familiar with like MongoDB's driver in JavaScript, it's pretty much the same with like using a get DB collection, um, as well as once you have your collection, to do a find or an update, you can utilize similar to how you do it
Yes. I
normally
just
in
want to
Node.
echo this too. Like, I'm a Node, I'm like a full stack Node JavaScript developer, but like serverless has been a total game changer for me. I haven't written a Node server in probably a year now. Um, serverless functions
Ooh,
make it
wow.
so easy. It makes it so easy. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, and you're totally right. Like, and now instead of having to deploy like a full stack app somewhere, like now you just have to deploy a static front end, and then you have a serverless back end that runs. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. And like in our settings, all you have to do to connect the front end to the back end is that you have this webhook URL that you copy. And all you have to do is, let me go back to my code here. If I go to panel map, up here, we utilize React on the front end. And what we did was we have our URL here that we specified. And we have our query, depending on what year it is, we pass along the year from our context API. And we do a fetch call. And all we have to do is return the response as a JSON object. And then from there, we can utilize the data however we want. In this case, we basically stored our data in a internal state called
that.
data.
Yep, perfect. Yeah. Okay, so you're just making a call to the serverless function and then saving that in your locally on the React app. Yeah, I love that.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, that looks amazing. Let's see here. Any other questions about the app? Otherwise, I want to hear a little bit about how you're getting, like how you're prepping for the job hunt too. I think a lot of people here would love to hear about that.
Okay.
Does anyone in the chat have any other questions for Wayne? I have one if people are writing stuff too, but I'm curious, was there winners or like prizes handed out this hackathon at all?
The top 4, I guess you can consider them winners. There wasn't really like any ranking system, but the top 4 winners split the, I guess, quote unquote prize money. And each of the different teams were able to donate that money to any organization that relates to Black Lives Matter or in general.
This is my personal opinion, but I think that that's such a better way. I don't know. I feel like having like a huge cash or like gift prize like really incentivizes like really competitive hackathon people, which is really not fun for me at all. You know what I mean? I'd rather just like, I like having that like, I don't know, it lowers the stress of it. It like lowers the pressure. I think it's more fun.
Yeah, for me, like when I go into hackathon, I don't do it for the prizes. Of course, there's free like cool stuff like free swag, shirts. Well, I don't need another shirt per se, but I guess the lesson learned is like for me, I go into hackathon wanting to come out with something new out of it, like in terms of like knowledge. So me, I wanted to come out of this hackathon knowing a little bit and have a better grasp of using MongoDB Realm, because I never utilized that before.
So like learning something new.
Yeah.
And this is something too that I tell people who are very afraid of whiteboard interviews, like myself. That like hackathons are a great hack for like if you can work with someone that can see you coding, it's such a great way to like show that you're an awesome programmer without having to do a whiteboard interview. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and hackathon actually, I guess, simulates the working environments when you are actually on the job. So like pair programming of some sort, it actually puts you down in that setting and be like, okay, let's put our heads together and try to debug this issue.
I love that. Totally
which is very
agree.
good.
I 100% agree. And we have a KJ Miller asks, is this set up to be used for other locations? I assume besides like New York City.
That'll also be like another addition to this application that we want to add in the future. The I guess downside is that one, not all states have data like this, like victims of shooting, so they don't have like a set standard. And then two, the different states probably have different formatting when it comes to their open data. So it's like I would have to sift through and like
Yeah.
I guess, clean up the data in a way to formulate, I guess, in order to conform to the schema that I have in my
100%. I think
Atlas
if someone wanted to take this though, like they just have
collection.
to change the map center to whatever location, find an open data set, and probably massage the data to make it fit, and then it'd work. Like it'd probably work pretty. It would take some work, but it's possible. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's great. I love this. Yeah, I don't know. And Wayne, I wanted to bring you on here because I think this app is super cool. I think it's super important. I love how you used it. Uses MongoDB. Added perk.
Mhm.
Great. But I think it's a great use case for it though too, right? Like you're getting JSON data from an open data like API set, and you're just saving that data in MongoDB, right? Like you don't have to change the structure. You just get it. You get to keep it. And you can do whatever you want with it. You can make these awesome data visualizations with it.
Yeah. Yeah, also, because I want to plug, we utilize the free cluster from MongoDB to actually host
That's the best part.
all this data.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in terms of how big this data set was, I believe it was like 22,000 documents. So it was able to host all in one collection, which is great. And there was no size issue. I think all you had to pay for is the amount of data transferred.
Yeah, no, totally.
And that's
Yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
good.
Have you seen like has this got any traction? Have you like has anyone noticed this app yet? Maybe we could change
Not
that.
yet, but yeah.
No, I love that. That's amazing. And are you working at anything else right now? I know you said you're getting prepped for interviews. Maybe we could talk about that. Like, so Wayne is looking for jobs. So you're like in interview mode. What does that like? What does that mean? What are you doing to like get prepared?
Yeah, for interview mode. So I guess a little bit about my experience because
Yeah.
I think we glossed over that. But I have 5 years. I have 5 years experience as a full stack web developer. Unfortunately, I was like I was laid off back in October. And then coronavirus hits, and then my job prospects really went away. But now that things are opening back up now again, I'm starting to hear back from recruiters. So right now I'm trying to prepare for my interviews by studying algorithms again, something I haven't done since I was
Same.
in college. And so tools that I utilize to study is HackerRank, LeetCode. There's this tool called Pramp, and I'll
Love it.
show it right now. So this allows you to do like practice mock interviews. So there's one thing that I guess HackerRank and LeetCode don't really provide is that interview type setting of you talking with an interviewer. Basically, an interviewer is trying to figure out your thought process when it comes to solving a problem, and you don't get that out of like just randomly completing LeetCode and HackerRank problems. So Premp helps you with that. They provide you with a question. You could be both the interviewer and the interviewee, and it's all free. It's all free. I didn't have any bad experiences with it. I believe you can do like regular algorithms. You can do system design questions, which you probably won't learn in a boot camp or in college, really. That's something that you just learn through experience.
Can Pramp do like behavioral interview
I
questions?
believe,
Like, tell me about a time when you solved a problem.
yeah, yeah. They also do behavioral interview questions, so
Yes.
that's great as well. So it prepares you just for like the general questions that come out in interviews. Um, and I haven't had any bad experiences with it. It also provides you like as the interviewer and the interviewee, you can give feedback. So I've had great feedback when it comes to like things I need to work on personally, whether it comes to trying to think of more optimized solutions to certain algorithm problems, or if I was quiet, they'll people are usually
I love
open
that.
when it
Also,
comes to
I feel like
feedback.
interviewing other people is a great way to like identify things you're looking for when you're interviewing. And I feel like I get better at being an interviewee by like seeing what other
Mhm.
people mess up or like what I'm wanting more of from them. So helpful.
Yeah, I find that the same way. Um, and then also in my preparation, I'm also streaming on Twitch. So I'm gonna plug that again, twitch.com, twitch.tv
Woo!
slash Nami
Let me post
Kuro.
it in chat.
And I've mostly just been when I'm not playing video games, I stream myself coding, going through algorithm problems, and it usually helps me um, prepare when it comes to like um I guess saying what's on my mind and like um saying out my thought process, um whether that be to just an open chat room of people
Yeah.
or to an empty room. um it puts me in that setting that makes me feel that like I'm being watched, and it kind of puts me more in that interview type
I
setting.
love that. No, I totally
So
agree.
that's
Because I
pretty
think a
great.
big part of interviewing is like being able to talk through the code as you're doing it. And that's such a foreign skill to a lot of developers
Hmm.
who just sit in silence with headphones on coding. You really have to be able to like talk about it. And I love how Twitch forces you to do that.
Yeah, like sometimes I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
hmm, and like not saying anything, just like thinking out the problem, and I'm like, I catch myself, be like, okay, let me
Exactly.
keep talking, and
And even Twitch is
something will
pretty
come
similar
out.
too, because like you can like ask questions to the chat, which you can ask questions to your interviewer, right? Like just getting used to that process.
Yeah, and I find that the Twitch community, more specifically the I guess the
Mm.
science and
Mm-hmm.
technology community on Twitch, it's very helpful when it comes to like if I ask the question to chat, they can help me with
Oh, I
a
totally
problem
agree.
or something.
That's the best when I get stuck on a bug and someone can do it for me. Oh, great! Thank you so much. Yeah, that's amazing. That's great. It's and like, what kind of I'm curious what
Yeah.
kind of data structures and algorithms you're re-upping on too.
Yeah, in terms of data structures and algorithms, mostly focused on the more
Smart.
commonly used ones.
Mm,
So strings, arrays,
mm,
uh, hash maps, how to implement a hash map in any language. I'm trying to like, right now
yep.
I'm focused on JavaScript mainly, but also developing PHP. So learning both
Yep.
is pretty good. Trees,
Yeah.
some companies ask about
Probably tree
trees and
traversals.
um, more specific, yeah,
Yeah.
more tree traversals, um, learning
Mm,
different sorting algorithms as well as
mm.
searching algorithms. And what helps me is there's this, if I
Oh
look up
yeah.
Big O cheat sheet, Google, it provides me like, I don't know if people in chat here are familiar with Big O notations, but it tells you the different time complexities that an algorithm can actually run in. So here it just displays out like different runtime in terms of
Yep.
access, search, insert, deletion for all the different data
Can you zoom in a
structures
little
that
bit
are
on
out
that?
there. And yeah,
Beautiful. Yes.
so here it has time complexity, space complexity, and this is like essentially when you're in an interview setting, um, you have to know about the time complexity and space complexity of algorithms that you write. So this gives you a glance of like um,
Mm.
how fast or how slow an algorithm is, and it's actually color coordinated. Green being more the faster, well favored algorithms, and red
Bad.
being the more
Yeah,
slower,
yeah, totally.
less favored algorithms.
I'm gonna do a quick plug too. I last time I streamed, I did a intro to linked lists CS 101 with a MongoDB twist, and I'm actually planning an
Mhm.
upcoming series. We're gonna be keep doing implementing like free traversal algorithms using MongoDB documents and like some other interesting CS 101. So if anyone wants to learn
Ooh,
that, let me know. For anyone wants like specific hack or specific data
that sounds
structure
fun.
algorithms, hit me up too. We'll be running those through soon. Because Wayne, I love that you're showing this because I think, especially for boot camp students, this is rarely covered, and even for computer science students, like Big O
Hmm.
and data structures and algorithms are like you typically need a refresh on what they are. I know I did when I was like getting into interview mode
Yeah,
again. Um, I think it's huge.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's mainly what I've been doing to like prepare for uh,
Love it.
programming and interviews. Um, of course, there's like other resources out there, cracking the coding interview. There's Introduction to Algorithms, which I believe I
That
have a
book is so hard
textbook
to
for,
read, though.
from my
It's
college
so
days.
dense.
um, and yeah, and I would suggest like if you're interviewing with companies, um, pick one language
Yeah.
that you feel comfortable writing in, um, and learn everything about it when it comes to how to declare array, stack, queue. Some languages might have built-in data structures and some might not. I realized the other day JavaScript does not have a built-in
Mm-hmm.
heap function, heap data structure.
No linked
So
lists in
um,
JavaScript.
yeah, whereas PHP has a built-in heap function. Um, and so it's like you gotta figure out if there's nothing built in, how do I write it? Um, and how do I write all the different sorting algorithms that I need to for this data structure?
I love
Um,
that.
so yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see. Anyone have any other questions for Wayne, either about his app, his life, or his career, his like interview journey here? Well, I think if anyone wants to like continue to follow Wayne, especially like with this app, update to the app, update to this life, or like interviewing, I probably like Twitter's probably a great way to get a hold of you, right? Or I posted your LinkedIn too. Um,
Yeah, Twitter, LinkedIn. You could find me
ah,
on GitHub as well. GitHub.com/Wayne
one
Jones.
word. Wayne Dash Jones.
Wayne
Gotcha.
Dash Jones.
Up.
Yeah, so this is my GitHub.
All right.
Right now I'm not specifically working on a project, but going to be once I'm out of interview mode, probably going to go back to the NYC data dashboard, and also working on learning new things in this downtime that we have for COVID. So right now I'm focused mainly on React. Um, I think my next thing I'm going to try to learn
Hmm.
is Docker and Kubernetes
Ooh.
for containerization. And then also going to use maybe learning a little bit more about testing tools, because I guess right now as a developer I don't
Yeah.
write tests. I just
Yeah.
I just do a console log
Totally.
and pray for the best. Um, so I gotta like learn a little bit more about testing, writing my own tests before developing a function. So it's
Yeah.
test-driven development is the next test-driven development is
Yeah.
the next best thing. Um, and yeah, might utilize
Mm-hmm.
Jest or Cypress, um,
I'm a Jest fan,
something
but I
related to
love
that.
that. Also, I feel like I never do TDD. I just write tests after I'm done writing. The tests don't drive my code at all. It's so bad. That's whatever. At least I try to
uh,
have them. I don't know. Test TDD is so hard. Um,
yeah, and testing is like something that you
it's true.
don't learn in college, you don't
That's
learn in
true.
boot camp. So it's like,
And
okay,
every professional project I've ever worked on has a test suite. It's good for a huge scalable project. Like a hackathon, whatever, it's fine, right? But like if you're writing like a
yeah, yeah.
huge app, you're gonna need some tests. Okay, cool. Well, let's see here.
Mhm.
Let's wrap this up. Wayne, anything else you want to plug before we wrap up here today?
I guess last thoughts. I guess when you're building out an application, one, I guess I'm just going to stress this out again, especially for a hackathon, you don't need to know everything. Um, you can contribute any, like, as little as you want, in your own way. And like for me personally, you will go through mistakes, like you will hit roadblocks as I did with this application, and you will hit roadblocks in the future. Um, and for me, I take ownership and I take ownership and
Yeah.
pride with my failures when it comes to when I'm building out these applications, and like on Twitter. So for me, I'm gonna open this up. So me, I document all my failures on Twitter. I find it hilarious.
Yes.
But but when building this application, this data dashboard, I had so overall, if I scroll it, I had 2.72 million requests when I called. Luckily, it only amounted to like $3 after
funny.
hitting that free cap. The additional 1 million requests only added up to just $3. So it
Right.
wasn't costly, but I can see like if I was working on a production scale at a big company, it would be ridiculous in terms of cost. But yeah, cautionary tale when working with data that fetches
Don't
every
do
time
that.
on load. So like whenever yeah, so whenever you refresh the page, it loads the data from, it calls the webhook from MongoDB Realm. So it does that, plus don't have a node mon that auto refreshes the page upon saving. So I had NodeMon is just like a tool that basically restarts your server on the front end every time you make a save. And then I had VS Code auto saving every second. And then that times 5 developers is what you get when you get
That's
2.72
hilarious.
million
Yeah,
requests.
it's like how quickly that can happen. You hear horror stories of people with like $10,000 AWS bills from like messing up something in development mode. That's so funny.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that like I take pride in ownership of my failures. Don't be afraid to fail
or sharing
or
them.
make mistakes.
Yeah.
Or sharing them. Yeah. And I think that's all I really wanted to
I love that you do that
stress
because I
out.
think, especially with like the show and tell thing, right? Like people see this fully fleshed out, amazing app, like, and you don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that went into making it. And like, I love that you're trying to show like you're a developer who makes things, and we iterate and we struggle and we make mistakes on it. I love that. I love that so much. I think the development community just like needs more of that in general. Oh, but no, thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
I try to do that on this Twitch stream too. I think it's such an important thing. You and I are totally connected there, I think.
yeah. But yeah, last minute plugs. Yeah, you can get in touch with me on GitHub, Twitter, LinkedIn.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, if anyone has questions, reach out to him there. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me, Wayne. This has been an amazing. I'm obsessed with this app. I think it's awesome. I think you're an awesome developer, and I'm like so honored that you got to share with me. Yeah, great. All right.
Thanks so much, Joe.
Bye.